Thanks, Kelly, for that great introduction to our conversation this morning on the hardware of place. My name is Rukshan de Silva. I'm a principal planner at the New South Wales Department of Planning and Environment and Industry now in Sydney. So continuing on from Kelly's conversation, I'm going to walk through the planning for the hardware of place from a community engagement perspective. So if we get to the next slide. Is it a clicker? When we talk about the hardware of place, again, it's the physical attributes of place, and communities are sort of composed of both of these things. The hardware, which is the tangible infrastructure, and then also the software, which is sort of the people element of place. And so when we're designing communities, it's important to, the work that planners do, we're very focused in that hardware section of this equation with the physical component, but we have to be thinking about the outcomes, and that's really what the software is, the intangible component. When we're talking to communities about the future of their areas, they usually don't describe to you the floor space ratios or the development controls that exist in a bylaw or the specific permitted uses in a zoning land use. They talk to you about how they feel about space and how places make them feel. And so when we're planning for communities, it's our job as planners to actually translate that intangible value into something that's physical that we can actually make change on in our work. And I'll get to a bit of that today. So I've been working on the Go Jindabyne master plan. How many people know where Jindabyne is in the room? Okay, quite a few. So it's a ski town about 2 hours southwest of Canberra, about a 5-hour drive from Sydney. And yeah, it's known as a ski town, but it really is Australia's premier alpine destination. And we're doing a master plan to really take it to the next level and turn it from a single season ski town to a year-round destination, like many other alpine towns around the world. One thing we've been focusing on is engaging youth in this program. So when we talk about planning, the work that I do in strategic planning is developing 20-year master plans for communities. So a long-term vision for how that community will grow. And who better to talk to than the youth of today, who will actually be the people who are living in that community in 20 years' time. Now, difficult to do. When you have a public workshop, you're probably not going to get under 18-year-olds coming out to tell you how they want their communities to grow. But the onus is on us as planners to actually go out and reach youth in a different way than just expecting them to come to us. And I'll walk you through how we've done that. But one thing we've done through this master plan is establish something called a youth working group. And we've got representatives from the local public school and the local grammar school, who are the school captains and vice captains, who sit on this committee, and we meet with them every month and talk through how they want to shape the plan for the future of their town. So I've put together a video that I'll show you now about that. Hey guys, welcome to the Youth Working Group for the Go Jindabyne Master Plan. My name is Rukshan de Silva, and I'm the Principal Planner at the New South Wales Department of Planning and Environment. I'm joined here by Alex Adkins, who's a Strategic Planner at Snowy Monaro Regional Council. So as part of the Youth Working Group for the Go Jindabyne Master Plan, we want you to represent the voices of all of Jindabyne's youth, both at Jindabyne Central School and Snowy Mountains Grammar School. So Georgia, what do you love most about Jindabyne?
Probably the community and how close everyone is and how well they get along, especially in the winter time when things do get hectic. It's very nice to know we all have each other's backs. And yeah.
Okay, very cool. And do you think everyone's interested in participating in this planning process to shape their vision for the future?
I feel like they are, because this is our town, this is our home, and we all live here and we all want to make it our own, so I feel like everyone would really enjoy to get involved.
And where's your favorite place in Jindabyne?
My favorite place definitely has to be the National Park.
Okay, and what about the National Park?
I love that we have the ability to go skiing in winter. Also during summer, the ability to go hiking and go out and see the main range with a different look than what everyone assumes Jindabyne has, which is the main reason people come here, because the snow.
And how do you think we can address that through the master plan?
Well, I think especially during winter, it'd be good to see some public transport for, not just the youth, but other members of here, get some cars off the road, because I know the car parks up at ski resorts is a big problem.
What about you, Jake? What are your ideas for the
Well-
future of the town centre?
I just guessed it would be safer, like cutting down the roads around it, so you don't have to cross like 3 roads just to get to the middle of it.
Okay.
Because it's really unsafe, especially at night where there is no lights. You can get hit very easily. I guess.
Are there a lot of pedestrian crossings around the town?
No, not that many.
No.
To be honest.
Okay. And you think that would help increase safety? Or?
Yeah, probably.
Thanks a lot for participating today, guys. Thanks for all your ideas. We'll take all those into consideration, and we'll make sure that they are reflected in the plan for the future of the town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need you.
We need you. So an example there, you heard the students talking about their community, and Georgia was talking about how her favorite thing was how close everyone is and how much it feels like home. And none of those things are really hardware when you think about it. They're talking about the software of that place. But again, our job to take that into the next level of analysis and unpack that a bit and find out what the hardware is that actually supports the development of that software. And Ian was talking about skiing and hiking and all the activities they can do in the mountains. Again, there's tourism infrastructure that's behind that supports those activities in the mountains and them feeling that way about their community. One thing we also did was this postcard activity, and it's a different way of reaching out to youth. So we created these postcards and asked students to imagine themselves in Jindabyne in 20 years' time and write a postcard about what they see. So that was essentially their vision for the future of the town. And this is a first for the New South Wales Planning Department, but we had both schools stop school for half an hour one day and had over 800 students, every student in town, write a postcard about what their vision was for the future of that community, and it was incredible. And we did get those postcards that said, in the future, I want Jindabyne to have a McDonald's and a KFC and a Hungry Jack's. But we also had postcards that said, Jindabyne doesn't have an aged care facility, so I'd like to see an aged care facility so that my grandma can stay in town and doesn't have to leave her family to go to Canberra when she gets old. So a lot of insights there from youth, which was incredible to see that they have such important contributions to make in the future of their town. The one example that I want to share with you before I wrap up about the connection between hardware and software, for those of you who have been to Jindabyne, is Kosciuszko Road, and it's a state highway that passes through the town, so it's sort of the center of town, kind of functions as the main street, but doesn't have any sort of shops or cafes fronting onto it, barely has sidewalks, and it cuts the lake apart from the town center. And it's a 4-lane highway, 70 kilometers that goes right through the center of town. And we were, through the master plan, we're contemplating this idea of a bypass that will take traffic around the back of the town, and that will free up that main street, or that current corridor to evolve into a main street that's walkable and connects to the lakefront. Now, how they justify bypasses, I've learned a bit about transport planning in this exercise, is the hours of congestion essentially is how they would evaluate that. So if you take Sydney, or maybe in Perth, for example, probably not as bad as Sydney, but if you look at the roads, 2 hours of congestion in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, that's 4 hours a day. 5 days a week, that's 20 hours a week, times 50 weeks, that's about 1,000 hours of congestion that a bypass could potentially alleviate. In Jindabyne, it's much less than that. You've only got a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening on weekends during ski season for 16 weeks of the year. So it's not much to justify a massive investment in a bypass from a technical perspective. But that being said, there's a whole other argument from an amenity perspective. If we did create a bypass, we could convert this state highway into a 2-lane, slow road, pedestrian crossings at every block, and really connect the town center to the waterfront with cafes and restaurants that spill out onto this main promenade. So an example of how you can change the hardware to support that software development and things that we're all looking at in the Go Jindabyne Master Plan. Thanks.